Nintendo. As much as I love their titles and respect their creativity, Nintendo has had an odd relationship with their fan base. For the longest time, uploading Nintendo footage to YouTube would get your videos claimed. They shut down many ROM sites and music uploads to YouTube. They made Sakurai put Min Min into Smash, and the subject of this video, not being supported of the competitive Super Smash Bros. Scene. Despite Super Smash Bros. Ultimate having insane sales and having a very large and very active competitive community, Nintendo has done very little to support or foster it, and at worst, actively hindering things. People think that it's mostly old heads at Nintendo making things hard for the competitive scene, but I think there's more to it. So in this video, I'll go over the history of Nintendo's relationship with the competitive Smash Bros. Community, and explain why Nintendo is hesitant to do anything with the scene. Before we begin, it would be killer if you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell as well for notifications on future videos. With that out of the way, let's begin. Also, be sure to watch until the end before you decide to comment. Before I can talk about why Nintendo doesn't go all in on competitive Smash, a history lesson is in order. There is a lot to go over, so please understand if I don't go too much into detail. If you want to skip ahead, just go to this time in the video. I've followed competitive gaming, more specifically Smash and 2D fighters, for quite some time now, at least since 2005. More so Smash Bros. Melee, Brawl, and Ultimate than Smash 4. And full disclosure, I have worked with a few companies mentioned in this video. I have done commentary for VG Bootcamp for many of the Japan majors, but I have yet to meet the head honcho himself, Gimmer, directly. I've also done press for EVO at EVO Japan and EVO 2018, but don't know any leaders at EVO. Just clearing the air. I would say prior to 2009, before the release of Street Fighter 4, getting company support for any fighting game tournament was really uncommon. I know there were a few officially supported events, but those were the exception, not the rule. It's not like these days when every major fighting game publisher has their own competitive circuit following Capcom and their success with Capcom Cup. Nintendo, for their part, doesn't really pay too much attention or care much for the competitive Smash Bros. Scene. Super Smash Bros. Melee had a good 2-year run at MLG before Microsoft got involved with that company. Then Smash got another 2 years at Evolution, which sadly crashed after the team behind EVO decided to run Brawl with items on. Say what you will about that choice, but seeing CPU snipe a Smash ball from full screen against the star of the hit reality TV show Survivor, Sephiroth Ken, was lit. Both of those players are hella washed up now. Brawl got another shot at the big leagues with MLG in 2010, but Nintendo didn't allow the game to be streamed for that year. After a string of issues with the community, lack of support from Nintendo, and finally a bracket rigging scandal, MLG pulled the plug on Smash support. The Smash scene would survive post-2010, but had a rough time due to lack of support from Nintendo, inability to attract new people into the scene, and Brawl's steady decline in popularity with competitive players. However, the Smash scene had two huge jolts of life. The first was an announcement of a new Smash title, Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS at E3 2013, and Smash Bros. Melee joining EVO 2013 by way of a donation drive. However, the latter came with a huge caveat of Nintendo blocking EVO from streaming Melee at the event. The backlash was swift and fierce, and Nintendo quickly went back on this decision. The knock-on effect of this was greater awareness of competitive Smash and competitive fighting games as a whole. In my opinion, this was the watershed moment that got competitive Smash some much needed attention, and it made Super Smash Bros. Melee one of the most played games throughout the 2010s. There was also that Melee documentary that was released around this time, but I haven't watched it, spoiler alert. With Smash 4, Nintendo did show a bit more support for the competitive scene, probably as a desperate attempt to save the floundering Wii U. Oh Wii U, how everybody hates you but me. Please port Xenoblade Chronicles X to the Switch already. Despite not giving any financial support to any tournaments, Nintendo did do things like having pro players demonstrate Smash 4 at E3, giving their okay for tournaments to feature Smash 4 and Melee, and making this legendary video that was shown at EVO 2014.
And if we ever do get to go head-to-head, please, no Johns.
With Nintendo's slight interest in the competitive scene, the extensive Brawl mod, Project M, had to get sacrificed. VG Bootcamp and Twitch were working with Nintendo on some stuff, but they wouldn't allow Project M to be streamed. Twitch was trying to get their own Smash circuit off the ground, but that never happened, and more attempts were made to get circuits from Melee and Smash 4 off the ground, but nothing surfaced. That said, Smash 4 did air on TV thanks to EVO 2016. Though, let's be real about PM here, it was never going to be anything more than this weird sideshow title. In fact, we're lucky the game got too far into development as it did, as Nintendo or Konami could have hit that game with a C&D's nuts anytime they pleased. Smash Ultimate released in late 2018 to huge critical and commercial success. Despite not showing up at EVO Japan 2019, Ultimate did appear at EVO 2019 in America and EVO Japan 2020. I got out of round 1 pools at EVO Japan 2020. Go me. When the pandemic hit in early 2020, any events that were planned for that year were cancelled. EVO moved to an online format, but Smash was left out due to Ultimate's, not good net code. But it didn't matter because EVO got cancelled because of reasons. Then summer 2020 hit and a wave of allegations hit the scene. Seriously, it was like a bomb went off in the competitive community. Many top and recognizable people in the scene were outed, and it put a permanent black mark on the community. I won't go over everything or name any people, but it was a lot. Nintendo had to make a statement on the situation, and they pulled down a few videos from their official YouTube channels. To this day, I still get hit with a, "Hey, you play Smash? That means you're a pedophile, right?" That said, many people who were accused of crimes were banned from Twitch or went into self-exile. The other major event that happened during 2020 was Nintendo hitting the Smash Tournament Big House with a C&D's nuts, as they wanted to run an online event for Melee. Melee, being a GameCube game, didn't have online multiplayer, but it does if you're playing an emulated version. Since Big House was going to be an online event, they opted to run Melee on Slippy, an emulated version. I think a major using an emulated version of Melee was a step too far for Nintendo and their lawyers. The result was another backlash against Nintendo with the hashtags Free Melee and Save Smash trending on Twitter. I definitely think Nintendo and Big House could have handled this situation differently, but hey, hindsight is 2020. This also resulted in many people who have been active in the scene for years to come out of the woodwork to reveal a lot of things that happened behind closed doors. Basically how much Nintendo was preventing the growth of the competitive Smash community. This twit longer in particular had a lot of information which I used for this video. I'll leave it in the description so you can read it yourself, but again, it's a lot. And now we get to 2021 and 2022. 3 major things happened here. EVO was bought by Sony, and Smash was not included in the lineup for EVO 2022. People were really salty about Smash not joining this year at EVO 2022, but again, Sony bought EVO. It's pretty obvious Smash wouldn't be in the lineup. A mysterious tweet from White Boy Summer Ninja revealed that he wanted to donate $500k to EVO's prize pool in 2019, but got ghosted by Nintendo. Finally, the gaming sponsor Panda Global announced a partnership with Nintendo for their own competitive circuit, but Nintendo isn't doing anything but giving their blessing for the events. Curiously, no Japan events are planned for the Panda tournaments. Wow, that was a really crappy trip down memory lane. Yeah, it was like looking at your old high school prom photos. You know the ones. Yeah, they weren't that good, but hey, sometimes you just gotta relive some old memories. I can remember a slight that happened back in 2010, but I can barely remember how I got home last Saturday night, but I think this stuff might have something to do with that. I should talk about Nintendo. Nintendo to me is a very fascinating company. I think they make some amazing games, but have some very questionable decision making, especially when it comes to community outreach. See their old Nintendo Creators Program, and the fact that they have very few of their OSTs on Spotify. I just want to listen to the Astral Chain OST when I do my squats. Regardless of my opinion, the fact of the matter is, Nintendo's net worth is $55 billion, while I'm here drinking rock gut out of a can while polishing the old pole to anime tits on Pixiv. Remember, Nintendo is a business, and a business that is a hardware manufacturer. Their goal is to sell Switches, games, make cash, and drink premium Yamazaki whiskey. Now that's the good stuff. They have no interest in promoting games and hardware they are no longer manufacturing. See Melee on the GameCube. The bottom line is Nintendo needs to sell as many Switches and Switch games as possible. If hosting tournaments makes money directly or indirectly, then keep hosting tournaments. If not, then try something different. Nintendo has done events for Splatoon and ARMS.
Oh wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
So it's not like they are unaware of the marketing potential of esports. Either Nintendo doesn't feel like esports would be on brand for Smash Bros, or they don't want their characters portrayed in a certain way. And hell, if you had a game that had 10 of the highest grossing franchises in it, while being a high grossing franchise itself, you'd be a little protective too, especially if one of those franchises has Disney involved. Another thing about Nintendo is that they sit on a lots of money. Note how Western companies are all too quick to buy up the competition whenever a chance arises. Nintendo is content to partner with people, not necessarily buy. It's like they rent the movies instead of buying. It's how Nintendo managed to stay afloat during their rough periods like the GameCube and the Wii U. I feel like if Sony or Microsoft had a console that bombed like the Wii U, either of them would have bowed out of the hardware race. An actual tournament organizer can chime in, but I would imagine the capital needed to get a tournament series off the ground might not be worth it to Nintendo. You have to have the cash for venues, equipment, staff, prize money, cleaning, and other things that can cost a pretty penny. Granted, Nintendo is probably sitting on enough cash that even if their hypothetical tournaments financially flopped, they would still come out alright. With all of that said, Nintendo could stand to improve their community outreach. Instead of having the Twitter mob flank on you for doing something, work with people and find a compromise. Then again, the Twitter mob would be on Nintendo anyway, so yeah. Nintendo brings out the weirdos, don't they? Keep in mind, I'm just a guy here with a platform, with a channel who just wants to make some internet content for you guys to enjoy. I could be totally wrong about how Nintendo works. I don't know anyone who works at Nintendo. No one at Nintendo knows who I am, probably. I'm just a guy here who tries to, pick apart how Nintendo works and try to analyze why they do the things they do. But then again, if I worked at Nintendo, I'm not sure if I'd want to associate with a guy who makes a bunch of cum and masturbation jokes in his videos. Anyway, it's time to lube up and rub out to the last part of this video. So, the point of this video, why doesn't Nintendo support competitive Smash? Some say it was the events of 2020 is why Nintendo doesn't support the competitive community. Others say that Nintendo doesn't want their characters portrayed in a certain way, though it would be cool to see Mario and Pit on a Red Bull can. I do think those are factors, but everything in life comes down to one simple thing. It's all about the money. This is going to be a very hard pill for many of you to swallow, but the fact of the matter is, the competitive community for Smash Bros. Is nowhere near as big as people make it out to be. Some of you will be like, well, this tournament got X amount of viewers, or this pro player has Y amount of followers. At the time making this video, the highest viewed tournament for Smash Bros. Was EVO 2019, which peaked at around 245,000 viewers. Those are good numbers for any game. Super Smash Bros. For Wii U sold 5.38 million units, and that's the worst selling Smash title. I could add in more numbers like all the active Discords and Reddit and whatnot, but the point is, in pure numbers, the competitive scene is a fraction of what Smash Ultimate has sold, let alone the Switch itself. If Thanos snapped and erased the entire competitive Smash community from existence, I would estimate the blip to be around 500,000 people, and I'm highballing here in more ways than one. That would reduce Ultimate sales from 28.7 million to about 28.6 million units. Oh yeah, Coke Highball, that's the good stuff. There's a reason why companies such as Red Bull and Twitch were approaching Nintendo for support, not the other way around. After the Big House situation, one Twitlonger came out and revealed a lot of stuff that happened behind the scenes and was a great source of information for this video. They put it the best. Nintendo will support a community if the game can't stand on its own. See Splatoon and ARMS. If a game can stand on its own, they won't bother besides doing their best to not look like fools, which doesn't always work out for Nintendo. It's kind of funny, because Nintendo more than likely doesn't see competitive Smash as good for money making, but if they do what Capcom has done with the Street Fighter series, they can easily build something out of Smash, but Nintendo needs to put in the effort first. It's kind of like the chicken and the egg situation, but the chicken is saying, nah, fuck an egg. With all of this said, there's little reason to not support a competitive community. From a marketing standpoint, tournaments can get a lot of eyes on them and a lot of eyes on them on a regular basis. And you can always sell people on Switches and whatever the newest game is. See Capcom shoveling SF5 DLC and whatever new game they have releasing when they do a Capcom Tour tournament. Plus, fostering a community will lead to stronger bonds and lifelong fans. Games are remembered not only for their gameplay, but the fans who keep the spirit of the game alive throughout the years. A publisher working in tandem with a fanbase can lead to something beautiful, something that will be remembered. The Smash Bros. Series will always be remembered for its quality, attention to detail, and the sheer amount of franchises that are in one title. But it should also be remembered for moments like the Wombo Combo, the Axe 4-stock, Gluttony beating MK Leo, amongst so many other moments that the Smash scene has created. It's a shame that Nintendo is choosing to ignore those moments that helped Smash Bros. Special. Regardless of that though, the fans will keep playing and keep making memories for years to come. And that's my look at why Nintendo doesn't support competitive Smash Bros. Finished, and I hope you enjoyed it. I've been wanting to make this video for a while now, and like I said earlier, I feel like a lot of people, whenever Nintendo does something, they always get mad, but never try to analyze why they do something. And I try to be as objective as possible here, so But really though, at the end of the day, I do think it's just an issue of money. Nintendo doesn't think if they put their money into this thing, they're not going to make it back. But even though I do think Nintendo probably has the funds to do whatever the heck they want and still be financially stable. But there's two things I think we can all agree on, is that one, Nintendo, you guys can be a little nicer with your community outreach, and two, my sweater is fucking awesome. And we'll just leave it at that. So Smash, esports, video games, comments down below, and while you're down there, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell as well for notifications on future videos. Follow me on the social media, Twitter, Instagram @ZMings, you know what it is, and I'll see you in the next video. Later everybody, take care.